What's up everybody, it's Luke James, not the singer, and this is my review for Big K.R.I.T's newest mixtape, See Me on Top, Volume 4. Now we're going to get right into it, but before I do, I'm going to ask you to check out blurredsonline.com to see an interview that I did with them. In the interview, I talk a little bit about my past, my experiences with vlogging, and I even share a little bit of knowledge for the kids, because that's just the type of guy that I am. Now this tape opens up with an intro, but the first song is a snippet of Pay Attention featuring Rico Love. It's only about a minute long or so, but by now you've probably heard the full track because it's one of the singles from Cadillactica. At first I thought this was a love song because of how Rico Love is singing on the hook, but it's actually a stripper appreciation anthem. The rumbling bass and the sonar-like synth really make for a banging beat, and Big K.R.I.T did a great job of painting a vivid picture of a strip club, and all the stuff that goes on in a strip club. It's not a very unique track, but it sounds good, so it makes perfect sense as the lead single from Cadillactica. This tape also features the song Something Right featuring Yo Gotti. The concept is simple. Haters are talking, women are putting out, and the banks love them, so they know they're doing something right. That said, the lyrical content isn't anything amazing, but the verses sound right. And the string and vocal samples work perfectly over top of the neck snapping drums and cowbell. Because there's some cowbell on this beat. And we all need some more cowbell. The song Supreme with Fabulous and Rick Ross has a really cool beat too. The trumpets on this beat sound like something that would blare triumphantly after leveling up in Final Fantasy. And I got a lot of love for the Keith Sweat throwback on the hook. All the verses are cool, but Fabulous wins this one because he makes references to Froggy Style Sex and Tyronn Lue getting stepped over by Allen Iverson. And of course, if you don't live in a box, you must have heard Mount Olympus by now, and this track is featured on this mixtape. I think this is one of the best tracks of 2014. The vocal sample and the strings on here are just so deep, and the way that this beat breaks down and builds up adds a lot of personality to it. Like, this beat sounds like something that would blare as you made your way to heaven and the pearly gates swung open and then two angels glided you over to a fantastic white couch with all kinds of fine looking girls and they're feeding you grapes and fanning you. Like, this is some heavenly, holy type of shit we got going on with this beat. And lyrically, this track is a monster, as K.R.I.T expresses his frustration with being a rapper and having to deal with everything that goes on in the industry. The second verse is especially incredible, because K.R.I.T's flow is vicious, and he even touches on the whole Kendrick Lamar control verse fiasco. Mount Olympus is Big K.R.I.T at his best. Like, he killed this track in every way. The beat is on point, the lyrics are on point, it's just great. Like I said, I think this is a top track of the year, and I'm hoping once Cadillactica comes out, this is what a lot of it is going to sound like. Or even if it doesn't sound like this, just be as good as this, and it'll be a top album of the year. Then we have the posse cut, Drinkers Club, which features Juicy J, ASAP Ferg, and Ritz. This is a dedication track to liquor over top of a real pimpish sounding beat. And on the hook, it makes use of the classic 3/6, yeah ho, yeah ho. So I got love for that. Ritz really stands out with his verse, as is expected because his flow is always on point. And ASAP Ferg had a pretty cool verse on this too, I thought. He at least sounded kind of interesting, and he was doing some different things there with his flow. Big K.R.I.T was good too, of course, and Juicy J is just Juicy J. You get what you get with Juicy J. I got love for the Juice Man. And another one of the standout tracks on this album is Never Going Back, where K.R.I.T raps about the come up and struggle over top of a simple sample-based production that works. Now, this album is 22 tracks long, and there's no way I'm going to touch on every track because then this review would be about 2 hours long. But if I'm being honest, which I always am, and I want to say first that I'm a huge Big K.R.I.T fan, a lot of these tracks just aren't very memorable, and there's not much to say about them. Like, the content is just pretty stale and typical to the point that it becomes boring. And that's exactly why I was disappointed with this tape. Knowing that K.R.I.T has dropped great mixtapes like King Remembered in Time, Return of Forever, Forever and a Day, K.R.I.T Was Here, made it really hard for me to get into this tape. And it's not even that the songs are awful, because I don't think there's really an awful song on there. It's just not K.R.I.T at his best. Most of this tape is just a collection of snippets, verses from songs that he's featured on, and then some short 2-minute songs, with a couple of full-length tracks tacked onto it. Or in other words, this is really like an actual mixtape, not these pseudo better-than-album mixtapes that a lot of us have become accustomed to, because that's what a lot of artists do now. They put out mixtapes of 100% original material, and the mixtape could have been an album. That's not the case with this one. So maybe we've just been spoiled, especially by Big KRIT, because like I said, his mixtape game has been on point. So all that being said, I give this tape a 3 out of 5. And I know that might seem harsh, but it's just because his other mixtapes are so much better. Like all those ones that I mentioned are between a 3.5, maybe even a 4.5. So this tape is nowhere near on that level. But as a Big KRIT fan, I can appreciate this tape for what it is. I mean, I think it's just a tape to hold us over until Cadillactica drops in November. So it's cool. It just didn't live up to the mixtape standards that Big KRIT has set for himself. But it's still worth checking out, I'd say. Especially if you're a Big KRIT fan, you're going to like this. But if you're not really into Big KRIT, I don't think this is the first tape that you'd want to start with. You want to check some of his other mixtapes that I mentioned before you got into this one. So in conclusion, I'm not hating. I got nothing but love for Big KRIT. But I think anyone who's a fan of Big KRIT can admit that this isn't really anything that's top-notch. It's 22 tracks. We appreciate it for what it is. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you do all that good YouTube and social media stuff. Like, favorite, comment, retweet, subscribe, etc., etc. If you are an independent artist and you want me to review your album, you can hit up Luke at redmattersite.com, or you can email me if you got some love for me, or if you have some questions, or if you want me to review something that I missed. I'm down to do that if I have the time. And that's all I gotta say. Except, again, check out blurredsonline.com for the interview that I did with them. Thanks a lot, Blurreds, and I'll see you guys next time.